Three, two, one.
Hello, you're tuned into WBPULP St. Petersburg 96.3 on your FM dial. Welcome to the Simone Durant Show, where we cover all things hair, health, beauty, and community.
Wow!
Yep, you heard it. This isn't just a show, it's a movement. So turn up the volume and join the conversation. It's time to educate, enlighten, and empower together. Good morning, St. Pete, and to all of our listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the Simone Durant Show, where we talk all things hair, health, beauty, and community. I'm your host, certified hair loss specialist and restoration expert and community advocate, Simone Durant. And I'm so excited to be with you guys each and every week. You guys already know how I do, starting off with the attitude of gratitude, giving thanks to the African People's Education and Defense Fund, led by Amalia Shatella. Thank you to Black Power as a whole. Thank you to the Black Power Management, who allow us to be on the air each and every week, who keep things running smoothly. We just thank you. We thank you for setting the atmosphere each and every morning. Shout out to Uncle DJ Eddie, Florida's best blind DJ. Shout out to my wonderful fiance Vaughn, who is the love of my life and a very committed and faithful partner. And I just have to constantly give him reverence for who he is. He's so supportive, and you know, he wakes up and makes my coffee and gets me started on my day, always giving me motivation. And you gotta have someone in your life like that who kind of reminds you to kick it up a notch, to be the best version of yourself. So shout out to my children, who are my constant motivation. Thank you to my clients, my educators, my industry mentor, Tony Love. Thank you to Alan Jr. Bostic Jr. He's always behind the camera making things happen. Thank you to the Simone Durant Show family, to the Black Power family, to the St. Petersburg community. Thank you to everybody who has a part in this world that makes things go round. Thank you. I'm in the process of bringing you guys on live on Facebook, so give me a minute to make sure that I pull in the Facebook family and they get the same goodness that you guys are getting right now. And we will get started with our show. I had a really great weekend. It's not often that I get to fully kind of just relax, but I put myself to sleep on Saturday, and I realized it was like 5 o'clock when I woke up, and I was like, ooh, I needed that. But I was so refreshed that I could barely even get to sleep. For the rest of the day, I was like jumping up and down. And if you guys don't know, I do have a little bit of ADHD, and when I get too rested, I don't know what to do with myself. So I just, mellowed out, had me some food, chilled out, and tried to just stay calm and get some sleep so I wouldn't be tired the next day. But you guys may not know that I'm also in school right now. Continuing my education, and so I needed that rest because I was up all last night trying to submit a critical analysis paper, and I am studying to get my bachelor's in human services. And one thing that is evident in the journey of acquiring your human services degree is that you learn a lot about the complexities of human people, because in human services you're dealing with all different types of people, and so we learn a lot of different things. We examine a lot of different things, and I'm also in a class right now that talks about the development of a human lifespan on top of like mental issues and different things like that. So I'm in 3 different classes, and I'm pretty sure that like God always puts me in a space where I'm in the right classes for the right reasons and during the right time. And this seems to be the age where a lot of people are starting to break, right? They're starting to manifest their stress in more aggressive ways and more permanent ways. And so these classes have been very instrumental in me understanding like what's going on with people, right? What people go through as a whole, as well as like when you're developing. Sometimes when you have traumatic experiences, an area that was supposed to be developed didn't get developed because you were in survival mode. So as I'm learning these different things in class, it's making connections to things that I have realized every single day, and I just really didn't understand exactly what that was, right? We find the best way that we can to explain it, but I've been listening to reading articles and listening to case studies and critiquing case studies, and it's more evident today that we have to have some real conversations behind the why and the root causes, and really help people to heal and feel deeply. And so it brings us to a conversation that I think is really hitting home right now, and very, very close to home. Like the Tampa Bay area, potentially St. Pete, but Clearwater, Tampa, like places that we can get to within 30 minutes. And it is the term teen takeover. So that's what is going to be the topic of this conversation today. Let's get into it. I know you guys are maybe hearing through the grapevines, oh, like there's these teen takeovers, kids are going wild. We're going to break down exactly what it is, what's happening, and what we can do about it, right? So a teen takeover is essentially a large unannounced gathering from young people within the community, primarily organized and promoted through social media. So that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and it's in a very public place, like a beach, a park, a shopping center, a trampoline jump zone, anywhere that they have chosen to organize themselves. While the original intent for most of these teens were to just hang out and have fun, the events have been escalating across the country and across the state to become far more dangerous. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background about what has been happening with these teen takeovers, right? So back in March 2026, 8 juveniles were arrested during a teen takeover at a trampoline park in Brandon. And during this time, the teens came. They had they flooded the trampoline park. The trampoline park was at capacity, so they were trying to get the kids, out and restore order back to the trampoline zone. And it got very, very chaotic, right? Fights broke out. Kids weren't wanting to leave, and that was basically like the first thing in the area of the Tampa Bay area that got notice of these quote-unquote teen takeovers. Then on May 8th, a large crowd gathered at Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park in Tampa, leading to 22 arrests. And those 22 people range from ages of 12 to 21. So when we say young people, we're not just talking about the average, 16-year-old or 17-year-old, but we're talking about young to young adults. Adolescents, I should say, to young adult. And the Tampa police chief said that this takeover put the community, the visitors, the residents, and the police officers in harm's way. And when we think about, let's say, the average parade, right? There's things that happen and that need to be organized when a large group of people are put into a certain space. And of course, young teens without adult supervision don't necessarily have all the knowledge and the access to be able to block off streets and to create these atmospheres for themselves. So they're finding ways to do it, and it's not really regulated by any code, any statute, or anything like that. And then it escalated even further. So on May 31st at Clearwater Beach, there was the very first summer weekend kind of celebration, and hundreds of teens came to the beach for a teen takeover event organized on social media, and a 17-year-old boy was actually shot during the chaos. This caused someone from Polk County to be arrested for attempted murder. He was a young 16-year-old boy, and he gathered quite a few charges. You guys can look them up on social media or the news or Fox 13, they covered it. And the Florida Attorney General publicly stated that this behavior, of course, is unacceptable, and that they're having statewide prosecutors develop a plan to investigate and prosecute those responsible for organizing these events. And so the conversation is starting to shift, not from, oh, there's some kids just like roughing around and getting into trouble and we're going to give them a slap on the wrist. They're actually thinking about charging these young kids as an adult. People are having conversations around bringing in extra reinforcement, police reinforcement, inciting that, Florida is a registered license to carry state, inciting all these different things about our children. So it's important, one, for everyone in the community to know what's going on. And I think it's very important because these kids are saying, hey, can I go to this jump zone? And you're like, oh, it's cool enough. Or, hey, can I go to the park? Tonight everybody's going to the park and I just want to hang out with my friends. But doing more investigation, especially for grandparents, older aunts and uncles, older parents who aren't really like savvy with social media, you're going to have to get into it, y'all. We're going to have to get into it. We're going to have to be more conscious. We're going to have to ask more questions about where our children were going, who they're going with, how long they're going to be there. And I know when I drop off my teen, like I also walk in, I also go to that space and I read the room, I read the atmosphere, and I say, oh, okay, like this is what's going on, for the most part. And every once in a while, if I know they're going to somewhere where that's highly regulated, open and access, I might do a drop off, or I might let them explore like going with their friends. But for the most part, if I'm doing that, I have already like canvassed the area. I know what's going on in the area. Like we have a time schedule. I'm checking their location. I'm randomly FaceTiming. I'm doing all of those things to make sure that they are on the right track, and making sure that they're where they're supposed to be. So at this point in the game, you just cannot be hands off with the development and the whereabouts and the mindset, the psychological mindset of your kids, right? We have to, even if it's, if you know that they're being raised by your grandma or, a great uncle or someone that's older, if you have access to those kids, then you step in as the big cousin or as, the younger aunt or somebody and educate these older people on what's happening so that we can keep our children safe. Because when I hear conversations around saying that I'm going to use force to protect myself from a child, and we're not talking about the extremists like ones who carry, armed weapons and ones who are intentionally inciting violence, but we're talking about the large majority of those kids are just looking for some action, right? Looking to be around people during the summer, do things. But like I said, it's not exclusive to our area. There's been teen takeovers in Siesta Key. There's been planned ones in St. Augustine's. There's been ones all over states throughout the country. These teens are really misguided and displaced, and they're using our ignorance to put themselves in a position of harm's way. And so just so you know, there is an event that's happening, and I want you guys to get a pen, a paper, write it down. I'm going to post it on my social media. I've already shared it on Facebook to the Simone Durant Show. But this Friday, June 12th, there is a very important meeting at Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, and here's the breakdown at 6 p.m. The meeting is specifically for pastors and youth pastors. So if you know a pastor or a youth pastor of your church that wants to be a part of this conversation, if they're leading a congregation, if they have a youth ministry, if they're influencing young children within a spiritual setting, their presence is needed. This will be a full call to the community. No specific denomination, no nothing. Anybody, any spiritual leader, pastor, youth pastor needs to be there at June 12th at 6 o'clock. And then for the community, the doors open at 7 p.m. and that means parents, grandparents, neighbors, educators, mentors, business owners, everybody, right? If you have a love for these kids, if you care about the community, if you want to be a part of the solution, or just listen in on a conversation, get more information that you weren't aware of, so that you can reach somebody that's close to you, somebody, show up June 12th, 7 p.m. At Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. Mark your calendars. Again, that's Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, 6 p.m. for pastors and youth pastors, and 7 p.m. for the entire community. Now, for me, I have teenagers, and I think I've been pretty proactive about trying to make sure that they're cultured, making sure that they have their mind on straight. We have conversations, even like we're talking about ranging from 12 to 21. I have a 12-year-old, right? And talking to her about how she's feeling, her mindset, and what she's looking for as she engages in life is very, 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 very important. And I have those conversations with them almost daily about how they're feeling, about what they're trying to achieve, about the ideas that they have. And sometimes they bring things to the table, and I have to give them a different perspective. I have to give them a more enlightened perspective. And this is one of the conversations that I had this past week with one of my daughters about a particular situation, because we as adults, we have lived long enough to see multiple aspects and multiple facets of a particular situation, whereas young people, when they're growing up, they see what's in front of them, right? And they're developing vantage point. So if we don't sit down and have these vantage points, not talking at them, but talking to them and with them, and understanding that they're developing their own sense of identity and what they want to become and what they see, it's going to be a real challenge to help them survive in life and to have a quality of life. And so one thing that I feel like is really, really important is having those conversations. You have to sit down and say, hey, like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You have to be able to read the room and read their atmosphere. You have to know, like, what their goals are and their aspirations are, and help them be that to the highest level, right? And sometimes, and this was something that I struggled with, I'm going to be transparent. When I was young, I knew that I wanted to be something until it got hard, right? And then I'm like, I'll be this, and it just kept diminishing and diminishing and diminishing. And it was because I wasn't having active conversations with people about what the journey was supposed to look like, right? And we all know that things that are worth it are difficult, right? You're going to go through challenges. You're going to want to overcome them. But we also know that exposure is very, very important. So sometimes when we're putting ourselves in different atmospheres, it gives us the opportunity to gain a different vantage point, right? And when you take something that's very, very difficult in theory, and you actually live it and walk through it, and you have somebody saying, hey, this is the next step, and this is the next step, and this is the next step, and hey, it's supposed to feel like this, and yeah, this situation is going to affect what you want to become, right? We have to have those conversations, because some of these kids with the right conversation probably wouldn't want to go to some of those places and do some of those things, knowing that something could potentially happen and it could ruin their career. If we're just talking about, let's say somebody who wants to be a doctor, and they have a friend that wanted to go, and now they're in the position to say, oh, they got stuck in the line of fire, right? And now we are putting ourselves in a situation where I got arrested, and I didn't mean to get arrested. I was just the closest thing to the police officer. That's
great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to.
Now I just lost, an opportunity. Now I have this record, and then what do I do? So having these conversations are really, really important. And I'm going to bring Mr. Allen Jr. Bossy Jr. in, because he's the kid whisperer, right? And I want to just kind of like not be the only voice in the room. So what are some of the things that you are seeing? Like, you're with kids every day, you're out and about, like you're hearing these conversations. Like I said, you're the notorious kid whisperer. So what is your vantage point when it comes to what's happening with these teen takeovers?
Well, it's not enough for the kids. It's not enough for the kids to do that's under the age of 12. So we're trying to home kids that's already been made into who they are. So if we, like when I was younger, we had like football, it was 3-on-3 tournaments at the park, it was parties, it was stuff that was all controlled by adults.
Correct.
Now the adults are taking themselves out of it, and when the stuff is looking like people are about to kill our kids, we are like, oh, hey, no, and we're not in it enough. So we have to start catching them young. Like if we catch them young and organize things, they will come, and the police can help us. Like we can help keep these kids organized like our parents did with us.
Correct.
Yeah, we still had deaths and stuff, but we didn't have other people threatening to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it was organized by an adult and they wouldn't dare walk in there with guns. So right now, these kids have to organize stuff on their own because we won't give them nothing because we don't have time for them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of time. So everybody's getting time, and that's the key to the way the world is going right now with basically us is called time. So the parent don't have time. So the parent don't have time. So the kid find time. And then the police give time. So it's all time. And once we start finding time for our kids, then we take the time that is given to the police out the equation.
Right.
And we can help more. That's the only thing that I see in it, because it's like the kids are screaming for help. And they're like, hey, well, if you guys won't help us do it, we don't know how to do it, so we'll do it ourselves. And when that happens, normally when somebody under the age of 18 say they'll do something themselves when they haven't been educated in doing it, they're going to run into a wall. So it hurts us a lot because we just put them out there. Like we're throwing these babies out there and then we saying, hold on, wait, don't do it like that. And we're popping their hand, but we never taught them the way to go about it. And that's what I see. It's like it starts from the top on down, and we're going to lose a lot more kids if we don't start doing stuff with these babies. Like, I just took a 5- and 6-year-old to a football tournament, and understanding that parents want to win, but not understanding that the aspect of your kid learning discipline, control, listening, and all the aspects that he needs to be a great person in life, you'll get upset and move your kid to somebody who's winning, and this person may just have all the winning kids. You know, so it starts up top with these parents and how we raise our babies. And if we can all come together and put our babies in the unit and say, hey, back in the day, my brother took me to my first teen party. I was like 9. But it wasn't parents there, but it was police there. You know, so it was organized. Yeah, it was a couple fights, but nobody got killed. But at the end of the day, a fight is a fight that happened at the club. So it's like we have to kind of give these kids stuff to do. We don't, like, think about it. Back in the day, what did you want to do on Thursday? Leading up, you knowing Friday's finna hit, it was either a skating rink, where I'm from in West Palm Beach, we call it the Palace. Mm-hmm. So when Thursday hit, Friday night, you trying to get right for the Palace. And you knew this. We don't have this for these kids no more. Right. So they have nothing to do, so what they do is they get on social media and make it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And we're like, hey, you can't do that, but we still not giving them nothing. We have to give them something for them to work for. Yeah, they gonna mess it up the first couple times. That's honestly, because they don't know what's going on. Right. Once you get it and lock it in, they will learn and they'll do whatever we need. Right. But it starts with us.
And I think that you raised a really great point because we do have Astro Skate here, but look how far it's out. And Astro Skate does something very similar to the Palace. They have like kids organized all-night skates. They have teen nights. They have all that. And every time that I've been, it's been, you know, structured. There's been parameters. They have instructions during that time, you know, and all the kids show up much like how we used to do, but it's a safe space. But look how far out it is. Most parents can't make it that far. So the conversation does have to be around what can we provide in the area to support our youth. I wasn't allowed to go to teen dances and things like that when I was a kid because my mom said it was club, you know. But there still was a dance party, and there still are. There's some, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. But there were dance parties at the recreation. There were things that were happening that people knew about. And I do challenge you guys to go to the City of St. Petersburg recreation website and see what's going on in the Teen Task Go sector, because that might be another opportunity for you guys to be able to say, hey, like, this is a place where you guys can go and congregate. You know that it's regulated. You know that they're going to have, you know, certain things going on. I know the conversation around summer teen programs is slim picking sometimes because they fill up really, really fast. The jobs fill up really, really fast. The mentorships fill up really, really fast. But sometimes I think it's also because we don't know what's out there. So we are going to have a deeper conversation. The Tampa City Councilwoman Naya Young said it very plainly. She said, one way to prevent teen takeovers is to create more jobs and more opportunities for teens. She said that I'm looking forward to having more opportunities to employ the teens, because most teens really just looking for some money so that they can get some of the stuff that they want. They want a job so that they can explore like what they want to be and what they want to become. And so she said, because one thing I know is that a lot of teens really are just looking for jobs because they want some money and they're looking for other things to do. And one teen who attended the community alternative event, she said honestly she thinks that a lot of kids are attracted to the genre because of social media, and that they're probably just going to the crowds because they think that they're going to have fun and they're going to see something that's entertaining, much like social media. So the conversation around social media and the idea and the construct of what real life is has changed the vantage point of a lot of kids today too, right?
That's the biggest thing. Like, so we lost a lot of kids when like I keep saying, as adults, when we kind of gave up. So we lost our kids because we gave up and gave them something to do. So if you understand right now at 5 years old, well, at 2 years old, to stop your baby from crying, you're not giving them a pacifier no more. You're giving them a tablet.
Right.
So what does that do? You're not teaching. Like, in my age, my dad gave me a football, and he said, throw it. I didn't know what I was doing. The ball might go backwards, but I was consistently trying to figure that game out. Mm-hmm. So if we're giving them a tablet and that's their first sign of education, how are we going to tell them don't use social media? That's all they know. That's who taught them. And us as parents, we fall victim because we say, oh, we're parenting because we go to work and we make sure they have on the good clothes and they eating. But that's not parenting. Like, making sure the tablet is down, making sure they understand how to have a decent conversation. Kids don't know how to walk up and say to an adult. I knew how to, when I came up, I was just talking to the lady outside. When I met somebody, still to this day, if it's an older lady or even any kind of woman, I'm going to say, how you doing, ma'am? Man, how you doing, sir? And I'm going to shake their hand. And that they could be my age. Yeah. These kids now, they'll walk up and be like, what up, cuz? And it's like, whoa. You'll look at them and say, well, dang, they got bad parents. No, they don't. They got good parents. Their parents just only understand the culture. Go to work, make sure your kids are straight at home. No teaching. And that's what we went away from. You get what I'm saying? So back in the day, it was a lot of teaching. Mm-hmm. So mama went to work and told you when she got home why she slapped you about working. Right. And so when we kind of stopped that, that kind of threw me off too, because now we can't touch our kids. Okay, I don't have to whoop you, but now I can't even threaten you with nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, even if I could whoop you. One whooping and 50 I'm gonna beat your behinds add up to one whooping.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But if you're not allowed to beat him, you can't threaten him. So eventually he's done. So eventually when a little boy gets 14 and you're a mom and you're little and you go to saying, hey man, I'm gonna whoop your behind and you never did it, what do you think happens? He owns you. So he's gonna tell you what he wanted, how he wanted, and then he's gonna run away and do some of the bad stuff. So if we catch it early and start working on these babies' mental early, I was just telling the dad this weekend. I said, I'm not working on your son being an NFL football player. I'm working on your son mental because he got to be a black man in this community, and that's the biggest thing you working on. And we don't understand how to teach our kids that. We want to teach them how to be good at football, and we want to get them the Jordans, and we want to get them this, but we don't build up their mental to understand about the bad decisions that they can make at any time from being 5 years old to 18.
Right.
Without me. Like, I cannot be there and you can accidentally stab somebody with a pencil. And these people will put you under the jail. Right. And say you knew what you were doing. So I just pray to the parents to just educate a little more. Like, it's like sit down with them, ask them what's wrong. Because a lot of times we don't know what's wrong. We think we know.
Right.
Like, we can say, okay, well, it's money. Yeah, that's for everybody. The only reason they know it's money is because that's what they see right now.
Right.
They see the only way to grow is money. So what I did was I took one of my nephews and I said, I want him to go to college because no man in my family went to college. So I pushed him to go to college. He's in college now. Every kid under him looks up to him. So they don't see money. And if once he starts making money, they're going to see money, and they're going to see money tied to what? College. So they will go that way. We don't show kids enough. We have so many educated black men that can come down and get one of these kids to educate, to say, hey man, come here. Go put on your social media. Find one of them that's good. Put on your social media that we finna have a kid take over here. And when they all get there, it's just an educated black man teaching them about business. So we, as adults, we haven't found out how to get into it. We just trying to overload them, and all it's going to do is kind of overload us.
Right.
So if we find out how to trick them into helping themselves, then we gonna be good. Right. But at the end of the day, right now, we're going with them because it's like, remember being a kid. If somebody tell you something and you're trying your best, every day your mom come and tell you, clean up this room. But she never taught you how to clean up, right? So you just throwing stuff in there, and then she come back and she's like, this ain't clean. And you move this. She's like, it ain't clean. I told you it ain't clean. Now she's slapping. How do you feel? You know, as a person, you can't feel how you want to because everybody is on you.
Right. And it when you said trick them, some good things are happening with this teen takeover, and police department, along with former WWE star Titus O'Neil, hosted a takeover with a purpose at the NFL Yet Center. It was a free event designed for teens to have a safe space to gather. It featured food, activities, raffle game, and community mentors, just as you mentioned. Over 100 families showed up. Tampa Police Chief Burkaw acknowledged that the alternatives for youth cannot solely come from the police or the community. It has to come from home as well. One parent summed it up beautifully, that a lot of parents weren't raised to know what to do with their children. So starting at home and having a mentor for parents is a good start to keep the connections going. So it's showing that mentorship for the kids is important, but finding mentorship for the parents is also
great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to
community. And sometimes we put ourselves under a rock and we don't get out. But when I was going to a lot of events with my kids, I always would stay, right? There used to be a community around staying, not just dropping off. So I spent a lot of my kids up until probably like the last maybe 6 or 7 months, or places that I just wasn't able to go because they were, out and about with the school or parents weren't invited type of thing. But early on, anytime like my kids were somewhere, I was somewhere. And I talk about this a lot on my segments about kind of being the community mom, and my mom showed me how to do that, right? She was Mama D, and so I became like the next generation Mama D. My sister became a version of Mama D, and we learned by seeing that there has to be someone present, so if everyone doesn't have the ability and everyone's not compelled, and some people don't have the gift to, to be around kids, and I've had parents be like, girl, I don't see how you be around kids all day, but thank you. Everybody doesn't have the capacity, but if you are one that does, definitely show up in ways that you can. There are some events that and some things that happen in the community that are really, really great for the kids, and I want to spend some time kind of reflecting on those. One being jobs and employment. So we had a conversation. People have mentioned that kids need more jobs, more opportunity for engagement. The Bowley Youth Employment Program does just that. So they are city funded and they're powerful. It's a youth internship program that serves the ages 15 to 24 in the city limits of St. Petersburg. It typically runs from June to August, and it's a paid internship working 30 hours per week. They also have an after-school youth employment program that serves youth from the age of 15 through high school, and it's a paid internship program working 15 hours a week after school and on weekends throughout the school year. And then the JWB Employment Program, funded by the Juvenile Welfare Board of Pinellas County, serves students 15 to graduation and operates year-round as well. Collectively, these three programs have the capacity to serve at least 335 people, young people and their families. And this is a very big blessing to take advantage of. The city of St. Petersburg also has a summer training, youth and leadership and employment. It's called the STYLE program, STYLE. I'm going to try and move through this kind of fast, but you guys can always go back to Facebook for the replay. And the STYLE program is an 8-week summer curriculum providing training on employability skills, leadership skills, development, career development, college preparation, and it's from ages 14 to 16 as well. That is the STYLE program with the city of St. Petersburg. And then you have the Pinellas Opportunity Council for Youth Development program. This is designed to equip low-income, academically talented youth, the ages 14 to 17 of age, with workforce readiness, leadership, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy skills. The program operates also during the summer months and provides a stipend to the youth for training and employment. Right, a lot of this stuff can be found by Googling or going to the City of St. Petersburg website. There is a career source, Hillsborough Pinellas. It's called Summer Pays, PAYS as an acronym, so that's P.A.Y.S, the Summer Pays program. It's a summer employment and training program for eligible Pinellas County residents, partnering with teens and local employers. Check their website, it's Career Source Pinellas, and it's an opportunity for you to learn and engage as well. So if you have teens that are looking for employment, I have listed quite a few opportunities that you have access to. My daughter, who is, I wanted to find a summer program, one that had a grant attached to it so that I wouldn't have to pay for a summer program this year. And so I Googled, hey, free summer programs for kids who are interested in this. That's what I Googled. And all the stuff, near me, in my area, near St. Pete, in St. Pete, or wherever you are connected to, and resources will start to show up. So if you are not really knowledgeable about what's going on in a community, one thing that Google gonna do is let you know what's up. So you can Google, those things will pop up. You do your research, you see the eligibility, what the requirements are, and then you just apply and you give your kids access to that. What have you seen? I mean, we've all seen kids go through some of these programs. What are some of the benefits that you have noticed come from kids being involved in these type of things? Because they're not just giving them money, but they're teaching them a lot of pivotal skills, right?
Yeah, I was finna say, yeah, I'm gonna put some of these on my Instagram and the stories, because like I have watched a lot of kids come through the programs, and I watch a lot of kids mess up first and don't have that eyesight, because I was one of the program kids where I didn't go through the job portion of it, but it was something at Child's Park. I forgot what it had something to do with basketball. It was an older man, and he kind of took us in from the ages of 13 to 15, and it kind of changed my aspect of how I looked at things. And so these kids need that. And if you're gonna put money in my pocket while I'm doing it, I'm gonna listen.
Right.
So
right.
That's what I was saying. Like, we can't expect them to listen to us, and we constantly telling them something that they don't know what's going on. But right now, they're so locked into who they are. I can give you this money and go ahead and entice your brain. It's still a trick, but at the end of the day, I would rather trick my kids than you trick my kids, because a lot of times people don't understand they're tricking your kid off the streets, and you can trick your kid to be something better.
Right.
You know, sometimes your kid don't know that you done pushed him all the way through college until he graduated. And he's like, I didn't even want to go to college.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's on you. It's like the pushing. But I think these programs are great, and I'm going to get with you to get majority of them, so these kids, so a lot of these kids can see, because a lot of them probably don't know. Because they are like me, they are the adult in the house.
Right.
So if I just want to look at, like you say, the Instagram, and I'm looking for what I'm looking for, I'm not going to Google that.
Yeah.
But if I go look for the sports video on BETHEBEAST page, and I go through his story and I see it, and he talking about this need money, let me go see what it's about.
Right.
So now I might sign up. So we're going to try to open it up for these kids, because I think all them programs, that's what we need. That's a start.
Yeah. And so that one was talking about, building financial responsibility, financial independence, and learning things about getting into the career. But there's another section when it comes to leadership, employment, and community, and learning what it is to be a part of community and doing things that will help you feel more accomplished as an individual, not necessarily connected to money. So there's things like the St. Petersburg Youth Farm. This one is really close to my heart because my daughter enjoys farming. Sanderland Center has a farm. She used to go there, and they would bring home food and things like that. But the St. Pete Youth Farm is a welcoming place where youth can develop important life skills through urban project development and farming, creative thinking, and personal growth. These students learn everything about growing their own food and connect that to financial literacy, planting, harvesting, culinary, nutritional skills, what that looks like if you want to create a business out of it. And it's a very unique form of holistic development. They're located at 1664 12th Street South in St. Petersburg. You can Google St. Pete Youth Farm, and they have a youth employment and volunteer opportunities available as well. One that is tried and true is the Pinellas County Urban League. These programs that they have aid at-risk youth within the community. They bridge, build, they help with parenting skills and different things. So we talked a little bit about parents also needing mentorship and advocacy and support. Pinellas Urban League does that through parenting, job skill training, tutoring, teen summits, employability, job placement, and they also like to go into the families and see and treat the whole family, support the whole family, see what the mom needs, the baby needs, the teenager needs. And so I love the Pinellas County Urban League for that. The Pinellas County Urban League also hosts Empower Her Girls Summit each summer. It's a powerful half-day experience dedicated to inspiring middle and high school girls to lead, innovate, and thrive. They also partner with the St. Petersburg Fire Rescue on Camp Ignite. It's a free 3-day program offering girls ages 13 to 18 hands-on experience in fire and emergency services. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Tampa Bay, they provide a safe space, mentoring, life-changing programs for local kids throughout the Tampa Bay area. They have local locations right here in Pinellas. They also offer junior leader volunteer programs specifically for high school students who want to rack up some volunteer hours. Like I told my kids, it's not always that you need a job. Sometimes that opportunity of engagement is a volunteer or an internship to help you position yourself, because when you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or any type of thing that is going to give you stability in the economy, especially in the areas that are recession proof, they want to see that on-the-job training in the areas of interest, not necessarily just, a Publix or a Burger King or a Chick-fil-A, but they want to see, like, are you volunteering in the law office or with something connected to law, something connected to medicine, something connected to engineering. So with these little stipend programs, or at least saying, hey, sometimes you work to learn, sometimes you work to earn, and telling them the benefits of each is also going to be very, very important. There has been plenty of times where I've been working to earn, and there's other times where I've been working to learn. And I think the combination of the two will really change the trajectory of a lot of people's life, because when people say, hey, like, you're coming here to learn, and income is out of the equation, many of the times they give you more than what money can pay for. Right? Because they're trying to make sure that you're coming and getting what it is that you need from the program. And they're like, oh, if you're willing to do this for free, which we all say, if you fall in love with something that you're willing to do for free, then you dang sure can make money off of it. And I think that most people see that as grit, right? They see that as tenacity. They see that as playing the long game. And it takes you a long way, where they're saying, oh, like, these people are willing to, these children, these people, or whoever it is willing to show up for free. So that means they really want it, right? The Resurrection House has a youth and mentorship program located 800 11th Street North, St. Petersburg, Florida. This program serves ages a little bit younger, 7 to 17, with mentors providing consistent supportive relationships to help young people build confidence, set goals, and strengthen their sense of belonging. So I keep hearing that there's not a lot, and there's not a lot. They get saturated really, really fast. And so when you think about that, these programs have no ethnicity tied to it, no age, like, except for these short age restrictions, that means that it's open to the public. So we do have to be proactive. We got to get on it,
I just thought of something. It ain't that a lot of them don't know either. Young men, I want y'all to do this. Take $40. Go buy you some black pants. Go buy you a white t-shirt. Take your belt. White button-up t-shirt. Take your belt, and I guarantee that they will put you in that program. Because I just was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, she right. But I didn't know. So I used to go with the black tee to the program, and they shoot me off because every place still have their stereotypical standard to how they do things. So we know that the kid with the big bumpers and the black t-shirt not finna go just walk in there and get in the program. But if he knows that if he just go get a nice haircut, some black pants, put on a nice shirt, and show them that you're trying to be who you want to be, they will take you in the program. But at the end of the day, guys, y'all gotta go spend money on the right stuff. Like, go buy this white t-shirt, button down. If you don't do nothing, buy one button down. You don't need no suit yet. That will come when you get the money. Go buy you a button down. You don't need a tie. They just want to see you try. Buy you a button down. Buy you some pants. Some black pants or blue pants. Man, you can wear your Jordans. They don't care. Put you a belt on and guarantee these programs and these jobs will hire you, my man. And then after that, you can clean up. Right. And so, and that leads me to what
a lot of young people are really into, which is art, culture, and creative skills. So my kids started really, really early, not necessarily opening up to the professional aspect of their development. They were all about being creatives. And I was trying to do things on my own, trying to make sense, trying to draw things up out of them. And the art conservatory for teens is what really broke the mold, especially for my daughter who had stage fright. She would, try and do these things. She would get up, she would cry, much like me, right? When I was young, I had stage fright beyond, right? And so my mom would try and put me in stuff, hoping that it would develop me. Art Conservatory for Teens does something very, very unique because it is the headquarters right here in St. Pete. They usually meet at local schools during the day, or they have a program down at USF St. Pete where they actually take young students, college students, in different forms of the arts, and those are the teachers. And then they have adults over them, right? So the connection between being young doesn't feel that distance, but they're still learning to engage their peers. They're learning different dance, music, theater, technical programs, art, all these different things that people usually, especially kids of color, and people of color, we pride ourselves in our art and freedom of expression. But they do it in such a unique way that these kids are starting to think like, I can take this outside of the art into the real world, right? And so September and ending at the end of school in May. So the last session started in September, it ended in May, and they help with all these different type of things. So again, that is the Art Conservatory for Teens. The program right in the heart of St. Pete and in the Tampa Bay area.
Great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight.